Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.
Oh, Steve and Larson! Don't you dare be sour. Clap for yourselves and feel the power. Yes. And all you people out there, you're watching Going In Raw with Steve and Larson.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
Hey, welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson, taped live at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson, and of course found wherever podcasts can be. So right now we are racking our brains trying to figure out who.
There's a lot to.
We have figured out 2 of the 5 members of Retribution.
There's a lot to work through here. There's trying to identify the members of Smackdown, they the Smackdown Retribution, who were messing with the lights and crap on Raw, messing on the lights and crap. There's so much wrong with all of this. Yeah. There's so much wrong with all this. Like, yeah. Didn't anybody learn anything when it happened on Raw? Like, watch the faders in the Performance Center so they don't mess with the lights. You know? Have someone standing by the audio board so someone can't be messing with the levels. It seems elementary.
Well, my thing is this. All 5 members, even so, like, 2 of them are women, and we're pretty sure that one of them is Vanessa Bourne and the other is Chelsea Green. So, okay, in case you didn't watch SmackDown, in case you elected only to listen to Going In Raw, that's great. What happened at the very end of SmackDown, after the trademark bump, but still with about 6 minutes left in the episode, Retribution, the new faction that has debuted with hoodies, dressed in all black with black hoodies and ski masks, baseball bats, pipes, and now a chainsaw, showed up and wreaked havoc on the basically empty. I mean, the Performance Center people were there.
They chased off the commentary team. One of them swung a bat at Corey Graves. Mm-hmm. They chased off all the crew ringside, and they proceeded to, like, relatively gently, save maybe the chainsaw, destroy stuff. 2 of them just tipped over the commentary table. A couple of them got some spray paint. One kind of did a WWE logo with the slash through it. One of them found a chainsaw somewhere and just kind of very gently cut the ropes down. Nothing menacing terribly. A lot of screaming, a lot of loud noises. They did go around the ringside area on the other side of the barricade and beat some people up. That was remotely menacing.
There was one point that wasn't even like menacing. It was more uncomfortable, and that's where I think was it Jesse Kamea that they all sort of gathered around.
Yeah.
That looked uncomfortable.
Part of it was the camera angle too, is this high angle, like from the ceiling. But then when the dude got the chainsaw from the ring and started cutting the ropes, I laughed. I laughed like loud. I belly laughed because I was like, "This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous." And here's the thing: 1, they don't know who's going to be in this group.
Okay.
90% of the people that were on our TVs tonight are not going to be in this group. I guarantee you that. Next week,
I'll bet money you're wrong on that, but I'm not going to bet a lot of. I won't bet a lot of money.
90% might be shooting a little high, but there's going to be some turnover from week to week.
Okay.
Because next week we're going to have at least two guys that are going to be pretty tall. Everybody here seemed pretty short. Up.
Yeah.
Like it's a 205 live invasion. It seemed like. It's just like what's threat. Like, there's just so much wrong with it.
Okay, listen, you have a lot of emotions right now.
I do. And
they're spilling out everywhere,
I think
Larson.
This is ridiculous. I think whoever is getting saddled with this crap gimmick is getting saddled with, like, a huge weight that's pulling them down upon their debut on the main roster. Because no one's get behind this. This is lame. It's ridiculous. What's the motivation? Retribution makes me sound like they're out for some sort of
retribution.
But on what grounds?
Okay, let's structure here. Let's structure, please. Okay, Because everything you're saying, I agree with. Except, here's the thing. The idea, the kernel of the idea of a group showing up in ski masks. I'm actually a big fan of ski masks. I think they look really threatening and really cool, to be honest with you. The problem, there are many problems here of what you just vomited out, a lot of them, okay? But like the idea, yeah, exactly. Eyes says, "Oh, let that breathe, Larson." All right.
I've had play time to simmer on this.
The idea of, this is a tried and true thing. The NWO did it, Nexus did it, DX has done it, of disruptors coming in, creating chaos is nothing new, and it's been done pretty cool in the past. I'm staring right now at my June 2020 calendar opened up on the Undisputed Era. They did this, they shocked the system. They did the same thing. Creating sanity, creating chaos within the WWE is nothing new.
No.
That in itself is not a bad idea. Not knowing their motivation right now isn't terrible, because we can get to that. The execution of this is so goofy. It's so out of the... It's like 5 people who look like they are 5'5" and under wearing baggy clothes. When I see a wrestler, he or she is like fit and wearing form-fitting clothes, and they look like they're jacked. If you give me Dexter Lumis wearing a ski mask, that's terrifying.
Here's the thing too, is on Raw when they blew up the Transformer or whatever, and rather than just being like, all right, job done, let's get out of here, they were like, yay, we did
that's
it.
the worst.
High five. And there was more of that kind of crap tonight, like the still they have here on WWE.com. They're like celebratory.
It's so goofy. It is so goofy. They're all celebratory. They look, honestly, like, how do you look like a nerd when you're in a black hoodie and got a ski mask on? Yet these people somehow pull it off. They're like, yay! They don't come off as menacing. Silence is menacing.
Yep.
That's scary. Not yay. Yep. The chainsaw was laughable. Because it was like a little mini one too. It wasn't even like a cool Leatherface one, where it's like smoking because it has gasoline in it.
Yeah.
That's goofy. Dude, Sheamus could have come out and bro kicked all 5 of these people without breaking a sweat. They don't look intimidating at all. And on top of that, you're right. In kayfabe, why don't they have one person in security? The Performance Center recruits, they're all noticeably bigger than these people. Why couldn't they? I mean, I know these people have baseball bats and stuff, but they are all cowering in fear. And visually, there's nothing to be afraid of. I could have been out there and been like, this is hilarious. I could beat up all these people, and I'm a fat slob. It's so goofy.
So bad.
And I wouldn't be shocked. I'll just say this one last thing, then you can talk as much as you want. I wouldn't be shocked if you're right that at least 3/5 of the people, I get a feeling, because we had heard that Chelsea Green and Vanessa Bourne, even though this should not be anywhere near Chelsea Green, and I've always been like interested, I guess, a little bit in Vanessa Bourne to see what she can do, because they really didn't do much with her in NXT. No. But Chelsea Green has all the potential in the world to be a big star. Yes. With Robert Stonebrand, they were handling her pretty well. Mm-hmm. And then she disappeared, and because she teamed up with Charlotte or whatever, got rid of Robert Stonebrand, and then we haven't seen her since. She shouldn't be a part of this. She should not be a part of this. They actually were getting her right in NXT. It's possible the other people will all of a sudden be Dijak and somebody else. I don't know. Mm-hmm. That's definitely a possibility. I just don't know. I don't know who else is under the mask to know.
Yeah, I don't know.
To expect.
So, based on setup, the reveal is going to be underwhelming. It just is. And then you're going to get a group of people, even if they're all from NXT. What is bringing these people together in an effort to do what they're doing? What is the motivation? Like, you get Chelsea Green, you get Vanessa Bourne, Dijak maybe, 2 other guys. like, man, if it's Ciampa, gosh, that sucks. That
You know
sucks for Ciampa.
Yeah, that sucks. But and the thing that really sucks about that is that's why it's like, okay, well, if Ciampa's in that group, why wouldn't they just have him get Ciampa in a ski mask and a form-fitting like black hoodie? He looks terrifying.
Yeah.
He's not saying anything. Just him by himself. That looks
He
terrifying.
won't be going, yay!
I
We
know,
did
that's
it.
why-
Hooray!
I really, man, I don't want to say it. I don't want to jinx it. Whatever. I'd be kind of surprised if it was Ciampa. This is so. I'm hoping and praying for everybody under those masks. For everybody under those masks, I am hoping and praying that they go the way of the SmackDown hacker, which is also very possible.
Yes. Although what we saw tonight was a far larger investment, I'd argue, than they ever really made in the SmackDown hacker. The SmackDown hacker is only really involved in one significant angle.
Yeah.
The Mandy Otis thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that was something that's relatively easy to kind of sweep under the rug and forget about. When you close a show like this, it's kind of hard to say, oh, yeah, we're just going to back out. Yeah, we're not going to do it anymore. We're not going to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed at all. That kind of sums up my general feelings on SmackDown tonight.
Yeah,
is it weird, Larson, that they booked a show that in kayfabe felt like they didn't know what was going to happen next? They did the thing where the main event was a match that like happened to happen earlier in the show. Like it was set up earlier in the show as opposed to.
It seemed like a show where they walked into it with just the Matt Riddle versus Sheamus match set up.
Yeah, I'm never
from that match. Everything else sprung forth.
When they're that you're absolutely right. That's actually true. Mm-hmm. That was like the seed, and the rest of the episode.
It really
grew.
was. Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan, especially these days when there's no like authority figure like on screen besides Stephanie zooming in every once in a while.
Oh, Adam Pearce. He was backstage trying to break up that fight.
Scrap Iron. Why didn't he show up? He could have taken these people out by himself.
He would have laid them all out.
After the trademark bug, before they went off the air, within 2 minutes of the trademark bug being gone and Retribution coming out, Michael Cole and Corey Graves run away, even though Corey Graves himself could have taken out these people. They run away. Scrap Iron comes down. He's got the singlet on, starts tapping people out.
Hey, when Michael Cole was jacked, he could have taken out every member of Retribution.
Remember that weird time when he was jacked?
Yeah, I know. When he was jacked, he probably could have done it.
You know what he said, how he did that? He stopped eating bagels in the morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Bagels are delicious.
I think that was just one example. I just thought it was funny. It was the one thing he pointed to when like WWE.com ran a story on him being jacked.
Yeah.
There's that weird picture of him shirtless and he was just shredded.
He was flexing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, for one thing, I stopped eating bagels in the morning. I was like, okay.
You don't get that kind of shape to stop eating bagels.
It always bugs the crap out of me when I see people and they're like, oh, yeah, look at me. I stopped drinking beer 2 months ago and look at me now. And I'm like, I don't drink beer. Why aren't I like that? I mean, I drink it on occasion.
Like I was reading this thing with Finn Balor talking about his abs. He's like, oh, yeah, it's pretty much all diet. It's like, no, you probably do crunches.
I mean, a large degree for Finn is probably just genetics. Some people I remember Xavier Woods.
It is diet, but it's not all just diet.
Xavier Woods was on John, our friend who passed away, Total Biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
He was on his, I forget what that podcast was called, but I know it's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, me too.
Anyways, he was on that podcast ages ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
And John asked him, how do you get, the co-optional podcast. Thank you, Mr. Forbesy. John asked, how do you get like that? And Xavier Woods just said, genetics. He said, this just happened when I was in high school. Now, I'm sure the man does work out and everything. You need like pretty great stamina to be a wrestler and everything, and you got to look great. But yeah, he basically just chalked it up to genetics. I was like, okay, cool. I can keep on eating donuts. So nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
Can't change my genes now. Yeah.
All right, I might as well get into this mess because this whole show was a mess from top to bottom.
I got my Steve notes are just, they're horrible.
So it kicks off the episode of Firefly Funhouse, and Bray says, before the fun starts, he needs to address something. Haters have been sliding into his DMs and blaming him for what happened to Alexa Bliss that last week. Yowie wowie, he says. If you want to point the finger at someone, Shame on you, Braun. How can you let something so horrific to happen to someone you claim to care about? All you had to do was give him what he wants. Never would have happened. Says he knows that he'll be here later, Fiend, with someone very special. He's waiting for you, Braun. He advises that you give him what he wants, or she'll find out what he's truly capable of. And then we get Matt Riddle versus Sheamus to kick off the show in the ring. Commentary talks at length about how annoying Matt Riddle is and how good he is at annoying people. Not only in the building, Performance Center, also on social media. They spent a good 5 minutes talking about how annoying Matt Riddle is. Which, when he debuts as a face, I'm not sure that's a good approach to take when building up a face, going on and on about how annoying he is.
Was Michael Cole was going on about that too?
Yeah. They were talking a lot. Like, AJ, Sheamus, Baron Corbin, they've all been rubbed the wrong way by Matt Riddle. And then Corey mentions social media, and Michael Cole says, several legends or something have taken umbrage with things that Matt Riddle has said. So basically, trying to put over Matt Riddle as being super annoying.
Yeah. Remember that time Michael Cole was I mean, I know it was heel Michael Cole, but he was like relentless in calling Daniel Bryan a nerd. And it was like, oh my God, you're just burying this guy before he's really had much of a chance to do anything.
Heel Michael Cole might have been the most annoying character in the history of wrestling.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Might have been.
I sent the Steve notes out.
There you go. So this match was decent enough. A hard-hitting affair. I know Matt Riddle was looking forward to it. He said it was a bit of a dream match for himself. And then so they're brawling ringside. Riddle hits Sheamus with a bunch of kicks. Sheamus responds with a knee, and then Chad Gable runs in, trying to collect that King's ransom. Attacks Riddle, so Riddle wins by DQ. And then Riddle starts beating the living hell out of Chad Gable ringside.
He beats the shit out of him. I'll talk about that. Plug out and plug back in.
Sure.
Yeah, so he at one point it just got cartoonish because he just kept on ramming his head into the commentator's table over and over again. Then he throws him into the ring steps, and then he kicks his chest while he's still against the ring steps, and then he just smiles.
The shit out of him. Oh my god!
And the other thing that I noticed about this too is that commentary just kept on referring to him because that name is just sticking. I guess they kept on referring to him as Shorty G. I was like, okay, cool. Last week, what a great possibility for Chad Gable to sort of rebrand himself.
Man. That's a great pivot point.
He's Chad Gable now. He's no longer Shorty G. He's a mercenary. He's a hitman. A killer for hire. and to collect the King's ransom because we got a lot of those lately. Marty Jannetty. But what he just completely looks like an asshole.
He gets the shit kicked out
he
of him.
Looks like an idiot.
Sheamus tosses Gable in the ring, hits him with a bro kick, and then asks for a mic. Tells Gable, "You took a win away from me," and then hits him with another bro kick. So Gable got beat up tonight.
I do really actually like the dynamic though of Sheamus is a bad guy, Corbin's a bad guy. They don't do that a whole lot.
That their match was fun because they just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Before that though, Corbin's backstage talking to Sarah. Sheamus comes up to him, says, "Hey, Gable, trying to get that King's ransom, ruin my match. It happens again. I'm gonna kick your royal arse." Corbin says, "You're lucky I'm dealing with Jeff Hardy. Otherwise, I'd put a dent in your skull right now."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. After that, we had the dirt sheet.
Oh, this was so bad.
This was bad across the board. It got a little bit better once Sonya came out.
The hair stuff was so bad.
So they start talking. Their mics start to go out. Morrison then even cracks a Retribution joke. He's like, "Retribution, what are you doing? Ha ha." And he was like, "I thought you were supposed to be whatever."
We were scheduled for tonight, he said.
Yeah, and then Miz says, "Plus you're on Raw." And then they're like, "Mandy Rose's hair is our guest." And then it's just a blonde wig on a stick with some eyes that's sort of shaking around. And then they did the voices for this.
It was awful.
I don't even want to. They sort of interview her.
It's awful.
It's stupid. They introduce Sonya Deville. She comes out and she sort of explains how she doesn't feel bad for like beating the crap out of Mandy last week. She loved doing it because she could tell that all Mandy cared about was her face because that's all she has. And around then or so, Otis and Tucky run out. Otis actually did have his Money in the Bank briefcase with him this time, and they all just brawl.
Yeah. Otis hit a caterpillar on Morrison. Miz pulls him out of the ring. Next, got a fun but although brief match between Cesaro and Lindsay Dorado. Lindsay got a bit of a promo. What? What'd you make that face for?
Because I thought, remember, before the cameras were rolling, I thought this was a tag match.
Oh, yeah. Like, this is a tag match, but why only half of each tag team participating?
Didn't even occur to me. That's not the first time it's happened either. I forget it. That happened before with God dang, it was like a triple threat or something. I was like, man, it was a great 6-man tag.
It was pretty short. So, Lindsay has a picture-in-picture promo, calls the championship party last week that Cesaro and Nakamura had whack. Says he's going to teach Cesaro how he likes to party. Fun match. But Cesaro, of course, picks up the win. You almost saw Cesaro do a Razor's Edge. He's about to do it.
I know. I was wondering what he was going to do with that, and then it just turned into a big, like, cool counter that freaked me out.
A victory roll, yeah.
Yeah, that was rad. Judas
Cesaro
Fiend here. Judas Fiend here says, I'm disappointed Mandy isn't bald. Wouldn't that be great if she only got a little bit of her haircut and then she comes out in like a bald wig?
Yeah, that'd be great.
After that, we had so they announced Miz versus Heavy Machinery for, I guess, was the main event. Otis gets an interview. He's
having a fit. He's having a fit.
Yeah, at this point, he's like, all Miz and more.
He calms down pretty quick.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Well, I told you on text, they're like the opposite of Breezango. Breezango is all about fun, hit the ring, all business. Heavy Machinery, opposite. Otis, angry, intense. Yeah. Hits the ring, starts dancing.
It's all jokes.
Pelvic thrusting, rubbing his tummy.
So, like, he's saying, all Miz and Morrison do are joke. I won't stand for the disrespect for my lovely peach. Tucky says something, I don't remember. And then Otis is like,
what Sonya did last week was despicable.
Yeah. And then Otis is like, when you make me angry, no one will be laughing. Make a lovely peach. So, okay, dude. Can you explain this Fiend stuff to me, please?
No.
So, after that interview, the lights go down, and we get that awesome theme song that we don't get to hear enough. That is really a terrific version of Bray's
The whole
original.
entrance for the Fiend is great.
Oh, it's terrific. So, we go to commercial, we come back, and it's just...
And Alexa's in the ring now.
Wearing the same thing as last week. So, Larson...
Yeah, they shot this last week.
Okay, fine. But it's been a week since then.
Yeah.
In kayfabe, the only explanation really is that he's a time traveler?
No, he could have kidnapped her.
But she didn't look any worse. So she still got to do hair and makeup?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, she didn't really seem all that traumatized. Like,
no.
it's just him and her back in the ring together. She's wearing the same thing she wore last week. Like, yeah, I know they taped it last week, but, like, is the idea that, yeah, he kidnapped her, but then she still looks great?
Yeah, I know. There's a lot that was off about this whole thing.
So then he loads up in the corner of the ring. He starts crawling to her. Like, first he's, like, near her. Then he goes to the corner of the ring. Then it's like performance art. He, like, crawls back to her. And then, like, he starts to, like, do the I'm going to put my dirty fingers in your mouth thing.
Yeah.
And then she, like, stops it. And then she caresses his weird fiend head.
And then he pushes it away. And then you hear Braun's voice. Says, Bray, you sadistic bastard. He's on the Tron.
This Matt Chat question from Braun Strowman on an iPhone 8.
This is Braun Strowman is my Matt Chat question. Do you think playing with my emotions would work? And then he says, I don't give a damn about Alexa, only about destroying the Fiend.
Mm-hmm.
I missed part of this. He said, I knew there were only two ways I'd be able to leave the swamp. Either as the most evil bastard this earth has ever seen, or I assume something that's bad. I don't know. I was trying to type as fast as I could, but he was actually saying a lot in a very short amount of time. Anyways, he emerged from the swamp as the most evil bastard the earth has ever seen. Tried to fight it. Now he's here fulfilling his destiny. He's the thing that nightmares are made of. I'm the monster. And now Braun was vacillating between actually doing a pretty decent performance and going way too far with it.
I thought it was. I mean, I was just sort of chuckling. I still couldn't wrap my head around where Alexa had been the whole time. Like, and then she looked the exact same as I was like, "Are we still in time travel? What are we going on here?" So I was worried. And then on top of that, like his iPhone promo is so pixelated. I was like, "God, get a new phone, dude."
Yeah, I know.
But
it's a front-facing camera. It's not as good a quality as the back.
Actually, I'll be honest with you. I kind of liked the idea that when the Fiend fucks with you, you change.
Yeah, totally.
I love this idea that Braun might stop smiling. That he even said, "I knew that when I go to the swamp, one of two things is going to happen: I'll be triumphant, or I'll come out an evil bastard." And that's what I've done. I like that. So I was okay with Braun. I thought Braun was fine.
Yeah.
There is, of course, the added goofiness that there is some very serious theatrical stuff going on. And then he says, "At SummerSlam," and I'm like, that's so. It's still so
it's
pro wrestling. It's so goofy at SummerSlam, at the biggest party of the summer.
Like, Fiend, you can have whatever you want.
It's one thing.
SummerSlam, you'll have to face the monster.
It's one thing. It's one thing if the pay-per-view is like Armageddon. Or even No Mercy, or
Ground Zero or something.
Exactly. Or even Survivor Series.
Yeah.
But SummerSlam is such a jaunty sounding pay-per-view. It's like, we're going to have a nice barbecue. We'll chat. We'll go to church, and then we'll have a match.
Oh, man. So after that, Jeff Hardy versus King Corbin. This is a fun enough match. Jeff Hardy had a pretty fast start, and then Corbin punched him in the throat. Corbin has the advantage for a while until Hardy drop kicks Corbin to the barricade, slams into a couple times. And then Corbin sends Hardy from the ring, and then Sheamus runs out down the ramp and bro kicks the hell out of Jeff Hardy. Jeff wins by DQ. Corbin and Sheamus start arguing because Baron's mad that Sheamus made him lose, all going back to the opening bout of the night. Go to commercial, come back, guess what we get? Baron versus Sheamus.
I mean, I was actually I liked Sheamus coming out and doing that to Jeff Hardy. I kind of appreciate it. I'm like, Jeff Hardy really should probably be doing something better than this, but he just got bro kicked out of the story, and now we have Sheamus.
Well, he basically got bro kicked out of the building. It seemed like because he got bro kicked and was never seen again for the rest of the night.
Yeah, he did. So okay, hold on. Kay Ballard, I love that chat is talking about this stuff. Kay Ballard says, "Take a close look. One mistakenly had the mask removed. His hair looked like Mike Kanellis's." Which, number one, I thought Mike Kanellis had like your hair. Like, it's just really closely. Does Mike Kanellis have hair?
Yeah. He's got his hair's really short.
Usually he just like shaves it.
Yeah.
I would actually mark out for that if that was the case. But none of those guys to me looked like they could have been Mike Kanellis.
Yeah, he's about 6 feet tall.
Yeah, he's not a smaller guy.
Mm-mm. And he's been putting on weight. That's his thing on Twitter, that he's up to like 215, 220 again.
That would be really rad. I love Mike Kanellis. I think or Mike.
Oh,
Bennett,
I do
whatever.
too. And that,
He's
like
great.
if that's the story, is people that were released and are invading because they're upset about being released. That's the story, at least that I would understand.
And it would be cool to bring back some people. That'd be pretty neat. It's a great way to repackage people if that's the case.
Yeah.
I just didn't recognize anybody there that like would have been unreleased.
Yeah, no. I mean, other than the Kanellises and Miro, pretty much everybody else is gone
none
somewhere.
of them dudes. I mean, again, like you said, they could change the lineup next week. It could be a bunch of freaking loked buff guys.
Yeah.
Could be.
I don't know.
Anyway, so yeah.
This match was fun between Baron and Sheamus, though. They were beating the hell out of each other. There was nothing fancy about it.
Yeah, I dug it. I like the end too because Matt Riddle came in. He
full circle, man.
Yeah, no, I kind of dug that, to be honest with you. He got up to the top. He sort of launched himself over Corbin, who rushed him, and then he just rolled out of the ring, so he didn't do the DQ thing, and then Sheamus just bro-kicked the crap out of him.
Yeah, it's all a convoluted mess. I'm just hoping it pans out to something that matters instead of just having people all fight each other, just to all fight each other. It leads to something.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, Corbin and Sheamus might get into a thing. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I don't disagree. But just in terms of being like a little self-contained story for tonight, I'm okay with it. I mean, it all came from the King's Ransom, which is a continuing thing, anyways, and it's sort of causing havoc with Baron Corbin. I mean, Matt Riddle, because of the King's Ransom, Baron Corbin ended up eating a loss to Sheamus in pretty humiliating fashion. So I'm okay with it.
All right.
This was kind of funny. So Bayley and Sasha were backstage. Sasha comes up to Bayley. Bayley looks apprehensive. She's like, "Are you okay?" And Bayley's like, dude, kind of worried right now. I got to fight Asuka. She's like, "Oh, you mean fighting Asuka on Monday? Don't worry about it. I'm not worried about Asuka." She's like, it would have been nice if you would have told me, because Asuka, she wants some revenge for what I did to Kairi Sane.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a great sort of really tangible moment of role reversal, where this is where Sasha used to be, and now she is in the sort of the alpha spot that Bayley used to be in. She's putting Bayley in these positions. She's more worried about her gold necessarily than their friendship.
Exactly.
And it was a great little bit. And then like this weird smiling PA guy comes up and says, "Hey, Sasha and Bayley, Stephanie wants to in the ring right now."
Or a video conference.
Yeah, I'm like, where's the redhead guy that used to do that all the time? He was like just a straight-faced dude. This guy like just knew he was on. I guarantee Vince yelled at this particular thing. "Who the hell is that guy?"
Oh my gosh.
Anyways.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, they got a Zoom call with Steph coming up. But first, we had a Big E interview where he is asked by Kayla, "What's next?" And he says, now that I'm solo, there's always the question that lingers: what could have been had I gone basically the solo route?
The entire
he says,
time, rather as opposed to the New Day route. Yeah.
He says the New Day could be perceived as weight, as pressure, as something holding me down. And then in a very spirited fashion, he said, "But they hold me up." And he says, "You know why, Kayla?" And she said, "Because New Day rocks." And he's like, "Oh yeah." And then she says, "New Day rocks," and they do that over and over again.
He's the absolute best.
He's just a delight.
He's the absolute best.
So then we get the Zoom call with Stephanie, and they had to they basically green screen. Well, they didn't green screen. They just put Stephanie's Matt Chat question on top of the video as its own layer. And to do that properly, you have to have your image static, so it's on a tripod.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're doing I guess rotoscoping or something like that.
You gotta get what's the program called? There's a program you use for After Effects to do motion tracking.
Right. Yeah, motion tracking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it just looked really weird. Usually
we're so
handheld.
Zooming in and out, 10 billion cuts, and you get a lockdown shot.
You're not used to one lockdown shot in an angle that you never see.
Yeah.
And Sasha and Bayley are just standing there as stiff as can be because they have to be in the shot.
But not be in front of where the Titantron would be.
They can't be. So they're probably looking at a monitor to make sure that they're not moving over where the Titantron is. So anyways, that's all MPYP stuff. Stephanie shows up. She says, "Hey, congratulations. You guys have all the gold. That's great." And Sasha and Bayley are like, "Well, thank you very much. Your words are very important because everybody in the locker room is very jealous. We get a lot of resentment coming our way. So your positivity really helps us."
He says, "We're just trying to be role models like you. We're trying to finish what you started, Steph, with Women's Revolution." Steph says, "Yeah, they're doing whatever it takes, like impersonating a referee or making a mockery of the rules and stipulations I set out. Hey, you guys have my attention." And they kind of go super corporate. They do the WWE Network is $9.99. Really try to appeal to her. And then Steph says, "No, I'm not mad. I don't hold a grudge. I'm a McMahon, but I do want to challenge you. Sasha, you will defend the Raw Women's title at SummerSlam, and it could very well be against Asuka. As for Bayley, all of your past foes across NXT, Raw, and SmackDown, they'll square off in a 3-brand battle royal next week. Winner of that gets a title shot at SummerSlam."
I love that idea, by the way.
Same
I
here.
actually marked out when I heard that. I was like, that's a really cool idea. Across all brands, nobody really stands out on SmackDown. If she wasn't in a thing with Mandy, I'd suggest Sonya Deville would be great for that role, even though she's a bad guy too. So
but also
maybe
for the
not.
situation where it's people that Bayley is, or women that Bayley has crossed paths with. I mean, she hasn't really crossed paths with Sonya any significant amount. That's kind of the vibe I got. Was that it was all like
the possibility that Asuka could walk out of SummerSlam with all the gold, Larson?
entirely possible. That'd be something else.
Wouldn't that be something else? Man, what if Vince McMahon has come around to our line of thinking? Give her all the gold.
She should have all the belts. Well, I mean, it's going to take her getting all the belts. All the belts.
Who would be her
Universal
tag
title.
team? Who would be her tag team partner?
Why would she need one?
That's a good point.
Just do. Here's what you do. You do a triple threat match: Asuka versus Sasha versus Bayley. Everything on the line.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, so that'll be very interesting to see.
Or Asuka versus Sasha and Bayley. Therefore, it's
Yeah.
like it's tag aspect. Anyways, next we had a Miz Morrison Sonya interview.
What if this is the Rhea Ripley thing, dude?
Could be.
In a couple of months, this is going to play out. We're idiots just sitting here. Triple H said it'd be 2 months. It'd be a couple months.
Be 3 months. That gets us in the middle of September. There's nothing going in the middle of September. What the hell is he talking about?
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that long.
Next we got a Miz Morrison and Sonya Deville interview. They're kind of milling about backstage. Kayla walks up to him and she asks him, "Hey, do you regret taking things too far now that you have a match with Heavy Machinery?" Miz is like, "Oh, our comedy is too highbrow. It goes over everybody's head." And then Kayla's like, "I've never seen Otis this upset before." And then Miz is like, "What's he gonna do? Eat us?" Heavy Machinery, sure, they're big and they're ferocious. And then Morrison says, "Yeah, in catering."
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing with Miz and Morrison: when they're on, they're pretty funny. When they're not, it's so bad.
I agree.
So bad.
I know it is. It's really cringy when they're not on, and dude. It's black and white. It is.
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no in between.
No,
there's no. It's
there's
either
two
cringy,
spectrums, and it's one or the other. There's nothing in between.
It's either really cringy or I'm laughing.
Yeah, it seems to be 70-30 cringe.
Yeah, that's totally true. So our main event was in fact Miz and Morrison versus Heavy Machinery. I'll be honest with me, I was so confused. Why is it Otis was just goofing off the entire time?
The whole story leading up to this is how upset and angry he was. He, like, one of the first things he does the bushwhacker thing with Tucky and slams Miz's head between their two tummies.
When Miz gave him like a devastating chop, he just pelvic thrust.
He starts rubbing his tummy and thrusting his pelvis.
What have we talked about ever since Otis won Money in the Bank? We were like, okay, how can we now? Let me write down. How can we take Otis seriously, or at least as a legitimate threat, so that we believe it when he beats whoever has the Universal Championship?
Even before he hit the ring, he did his usual entrance. Like, if you're this upset, beeline to the ring. Beeline.
Like, the idea was, Kayla said, and he said, "I've never been this angry before." Why is he acting like this is the Mixed Match Challenge all of a sudden? He didn't look mad at all. He looked like he was having a blast out there.
Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense, I tell you. Anyways, this match is largely forgettable. This bit. So it goes back and forth. Otis hits Caterpillar on Morrison, covers. Miz pulls Morrison out of the ring. And then there's a brawl that breaks out ringside. So Tucky charges Miz and Morrison. They just kind of casually move aside, and Tucky runs full speed into the barricade. And then Miz sends Otis to the ring steps. Mandy comes down. She attacks Sonya. They're brawling to ringside. They're brawling in the ring. Ref calls for the bell for some reason. Neither of them are involved in the match. It should have been a DQ. More brawling. Heavy Machinery and Miz and Morrison do an awful job of trying to break them up. Like, they pull apart for a second. They're fighting some more. Eventually, Otis pulls Mandy out of the ring. Go to commercial, come back. The brawl's kind of continuing backstage. They're all arguing. Lights go off. Come back, kind of. And then a bunch of people with weapons hit the ring. One of them swings a bat at Corey. He ducks. He's out of there. One of them talks to the camera. Voice sounded really familiar. Couldn't place who it was, though. Says this is their house now. They chase all the ringside crew off. Stay in the ring and then shout a bunch. Then they walk on the opposite side of the barricade, beat up some of the people in the crowd. And then a couple of them just very gently tip over a commentary desk, spray paint some stuff with the plexiglass. And then a dude busts out a chainsaw and cuts down the ropes.
Yeah. Let me mess up. Like, how would a chainsaw react to? Remember when Foley got his ear cut off? Wasn't it like elevator cable or something like that?
That's what they use at WCW, but in WWF they actually use real rope with duct tape.
They use actual rope. I wonder how a chainsaw would react to elevator cable.
Depending on how many horsepower the chainsaw. If
This looked really weak. This looked really.
It's like a 5 horsepower.
Like bounces back at the guy.
I know.
Sorry. This is a funny visual. It's like, oh my God.
It's one of those unexpected things, you know. You just trying to look badass, cutting the ring ropes down with a chainsaw, just bounces off him. But it's like it's not even powerful enough to like hurt him. It just bounces off. The rope bounces off his head. It's like the worst chainsaw there is.
All right, man.
Anyways, this Retribution stuff is garbage. It's garbage.
So far, I'm going to give Retribution a grade of garbage.
I feel bad. It's at the point now where I know this is only a week into it. I feel really bad for anybody that has to be involved with this. Really bad.
So again, yeah, if in a month from now, Chelsea Green is wrestling in like a black hoodie, and like really super baggy pants, I'll be horribly sad. I'll be so sad.
Let me ask you this. So that's one option. But what if they go through all this, ski masks, hoodies, all that, and then they unveil who they are, and when they start wrestling, they wrestle in their old wrestling gear. So what's worse?
I don't know. I mean, it's so ugly. It harkens back. I just think of the words out of touch. And I know that general idea can mean so many different things. It can mean so many different things. It can mean, you know, the stories that are being told, the plot that's being told. But to me, it can also mean how you soak in pop culture and sort of use that to reflect your product for what contemporary audiences expect.
Well, it's keeping up with the zeitgeist of what audiences are into.
And so when a couple of like a 65-year-old or a 60-year-old man and a 74-year-old man look at these people with their goofy ass outfits and if the first thing they think is this is not this is a clown show, then they are out of touch. This isn't cool, man. It's not even close to it. I'm like 41 and I recognize this isn't freaking cool.
Yeah.
It sucks, man.
It did suck. It sucked hard.
It sucked really. It's not really scary. Hard. It's none of that stuff.
It's awful. It's terrible. Terrible.
I mean, dude, even you look at like NXT, and it's like, granted, when the luchadors were kidnapping people, they weren't exactly the height of cool either. But look at Santos Escobar.
But I'll say this: when that happened, it didn't overstay its welcome. They went kidnap somebody.
They did it like a small handful of times.
Gone. It didn't overstay its welcome. They were there. They did what they wanted to do, and then they were out of there, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And the real thing is going to be, is this Retribution garbage going to get to NXT? If it does it, Triple H is like, nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's balls, dude. It's total
balls. Let's answer some questions. Quoth the Raven 79 has an interesting idea. He says, I've been saying for months the secret to defeating the Fiend is not with a man, it's with the woman, like a girl in the horror movies, because, you know, a lot of times the heroine of the horror movies, the hero of the horror movies, is a woman. Alexa hinted at that tonight.
Yeah,
could be.
That's a very good point. That's
if
a very good point.
The common tropes of horror movies, you know, going back to Halloween, that could be the case.
Or this could actually pave the way. Number one, they're not really doing much with Alexa these days. This could pave the way for her to aligning herself with the Fiend. That she could be the reason Braun loses at SummerSlam.
It's entirely possible. They could subvert the trope.
If he is like a monster, I mean, she could be the thing that, you know.
It could be this. Like if he's given in to the monster within, it could be a situation where he's face to face with Alexa, and that's his salvation. That's the way to reclaim his humanity. Yeah. He turns his back on his humanity because, like as he said tonight, I don't care about Alexa, and that is ultimately his undoing at the hands of the Fiend.
Mm-hmm. Or he's like, he sees Alexa and he's like, I'm monster, I'm horny, and then she low blows him. That's where his power is. Fiend wins.
Well, it could be that too. That sounds more consistent with what Vince would probably want.
Yeah. Okay.
Or AD says Braun was the guy that paid $400 to ask out Alexa Bliss. That's why he doesn't care about her anymore.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Night by Night asks, how did Braun's iPhone survive the swamp water? Maybe he's got a Samsung. Those things are water resistant up to like 10 or 15 feet.
Judging from the pixelation, this was a backup phone. Hunter Vandement, who from SmackDown would you like to see most on Raw Underground? Hunter, this is a SmackDown thread, man. We're not talking about Raw Underground.
To be fair, there's not much to talk about with SmackDown tonight. So,
Matt Riddle. It's Matt Riddle's Underground, man. Come on, it's Matt Riddle's Bloodsport.
You know what, Baron Corbin? They keep on saying he used to be a Golden Gloves champ.
Yeah,
so,
I dig that. As long as he ditched that King stuff, you can't take that King gear into.
No, you can't be taken seriously in Raw Underground if you're wearing a King gimmick.
Dude, I don't know how they get away with continuing to do this, but somebody sent me on Twitter a clip from the live stream that Dijak, Mansoor, Dio Madden, and Killian Dane all do. They were just hella talking shit about, not really talking shit, but they were laughing about the setup of the Raw Underground thing.
Oh, really?
And Mansoor was like doing a JB Noble impression, and he's like, yeah, JB Noble just came up to all of us and was like, okay, who wants to get their ass kicked tonight? You want to get your ass kicked tonight? You want to get your and Dio? They were just cracking up at the fact that, like, you know, Hurt Business comes in and just starts completely annihilating everybody there at the Performance Center. And I'm like, dude, these guys just go off sometimes, and nobody really talks that much about it. It's hilarious.
Well, I mean, it was on one of those that Dijak said that something about Triple H trying to get wrestlers in New Japan or something like that, right? Yeah.
It's like a gold mine of freaking NXT information, dude. I'm telling you.
Apparently. Do you have a question there?
Gregory Faella. So the mini-me version of the Nexus debuted tonight. At least the Nexus, like, there was a setup there and it was like, oh my God, these guys are on that NXT show and they're like the up-and-coming ones. Now they're coming in and making a split. Like, it made sense.
It did make sense. This doesn't make sense. Mr. Forbesy, do you think that with the possible heel Braun, he will be the Fiend? And it'll be returning Roman that takes the title off of him.
It all depends on Roman's timetable, but that would seem to be the case. I think the Fiend is probably going to take it off Braun.
No, he's saying, what if Braun becomes the Fiend?
Oh, I don't know about that happening.
That'd be interesting, though.
I think it'd be great if
possesses Braun.
I think it'd be cool if Braun did go through some sort of transformation.
Well, if you think about it, what if the Fiend possesses Braun, thinking Braun's a stronger vessel?
Oh, yeah.
Than Bray Wyatt is.
He's like, you're too tubby. I want a big, strong, meaty guy. And he's like, oh, man, but Husky Harris needs you, man. Alex Foster, if you guys were a debuting unit, what things would you do to establish yourselves? He says, I would lock someone in a closet. If you and I were debuting and they said, hey,
this is it.
It's
Drop
your
trowel,
oyster.
Take a crap in the ring. This is our turf now.
Wow. Gee, wow. What if you wouldn't have poo anxiety?
Maybe I'll, just eat a lot of fibrous foods, a huge salad for lunch.
Probably crap your pants before you go out there. I'd be like, he's like, okay, ready. You're gonna crap in that ring out there. And you're like, oh, God, Vince, you're staring at me too much. You're making me, oh, God, I just crap.
Yeah.
You're just shit your
What better way to mark your territory? Yeah,
he would love it.
Funny. What better way to mark your territory than crap in the middle of the ring?
There you go. He along him. He says Larson gets his baked potato out on international television. That's what I'd do. I'd come in, the camera be framed like this, like from midsection. I'd say the only belt I need is right here, and the camera go down and my balls would be out. I'd be like, yeah, it's my ball sack. Anybody? I'm the baked potato champion.
I'm the world champion of balls.
I'm the baked potato. I want a title opportunity at my baked potato.
Oh my goodness. Die Hard Homer. Stephanie announces that Sasha Banks will defend the Raw Women's title at SummerSlam, and it could be the winner of Bayley's match on Monday against Asuka. Diehard Homer says, the wording has me question if Bayley is the victor, if Sasha will have to take on Bayley. I was expecting Stephanie to announce that. All right, you guys need a challenge. Two of you need a challenge at SummerSlam. Champion versus champion.
Let's see here. Thayer Thabata asks, in kayfabe, why does security come out for two wrestlers fighting each other, but not for Retribution? Your guess is as good as mine, buddy.
Well, dude had a chainsaw.
Yeah. I guess so.
Ryan Luckman, why would the chainsaw even be in the Performance Center? If they ran in with it, I'd guess I'd be less mad. Yeah, they found that. No one ran in with a chainsaw.
Yeah, nobody came in with that. You're right. It just happened to be like under the ring or something, I guess.
Nirvana fan. Hey, friendos, any chance that Walter interferes in Adam Cole's TakeOver 30 match with Pat McAfee? Probably not.
Any chance that who interferes?
Walter.
You mean Dominic or Walter?
No, Walter.
No, he's not leaving. Christopher Rappersod has a two-parter. He says, I hate the Bray Wyatt Braun segment, and I hate it more was the closing end of SmackDown that I stopped smoking weed and now I'm going to go light up a blunt. Why is WWE so lazy? And then his second part of his question is this. Vanessa Bourne was one of the masked people. I love Christopher so much. What? I mean, do I even smoking a blunt right now? I'm not going to bug him with answering his question.
Oh, man.
It's not even a question. Why is WWE so lazy?
Alan J 1105. Alan J. Is that Alan Jones?
Is that Uncle Alan?
Uncle Alan. The only thing about this Bayley and Sasha storyline is that the tag team titles have taken a back seat.
Yeah.
It is the case, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that triple brand Royal Rumble, though, or Battle Royal. Oh, that sounds cool. Let's see here. Johann von Wolfenstein asks, or Wolfhausen, says, what if Big E gets his singles run, ends up getting a chance to fight The Fiend, who would have the title, loses, and goes heel because of his loss? He splits from the New Day, he comes back with a new music, new look. Every other person who challenges The Fiend loses the point where no one can beat him until New Day fixes things with Big E. He then gets a rematch at Mania, comes back with full New Day music, entrance, everything, and then tells the story of how the power of positivity is The Fiend's weakness. That's actually a pretty cool story.
I was like anti that until it came back around. Then I'd be cool with that.
I think it'd be kind of cool, man.
Yeah.
It's a good story to tell.
That'd be a good story. Fear and Loathing. How would you feel if we started getting Retribution reveals one by one? They are revealed to be former members of Aces and Eights.
So D'Lo Brown? Mr. Anderson?
Wasn't Bubba Ray in Aces and Eights?
Yes.
He's a free agent. I think his Ring of Honor deal expired.
Bubba Ray. Was Suicide a member of Aces and Eights? Did Suicide wear a
You're
vest?
asking the wrong dude, man.
Mr. Forbes, he says he was the leader. Was AJ
Suicide?
in Aces and Eights?
Suicide was the leader of Aces and
Bubba
Eights.
Ray. Doc Gallows, that's right.
Yeah. Gareth asks, how do you think
Garrett Bischoff.
How do you think a live crowd would have reacted to tonight's ending?
Boo.
Crapped all over it.
You suck.
It was garbage.
This is stupid.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Greg Morris, since they're called Retribution, well, we talked about this a little bit. He says, since they're called Retribution and kayfabe, who's in the group? Mike and Maria Kanellis.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everybody got laid off.
Yeah, everybody got laid off. They hasn't signed with Impact already.
But then there's,
So Mike and Maria and Miro. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all the questions I got on. Oh, let me go to Discord. I wonder if Dr. Steve Winters is there. But if you have any more, please continue.
Yeah, I'm kind of scanning through.
Okay.
Flat said, Money in the Bank briefcase needs to change hands. Would you rather see Otis give it to Mandy or have him lose it? Give it to Mandy.
Give it to somebody who can do something with it. Steve Winters. At this point, Mandy is in a better position than Otis. Dr. Steve Winters, what theme song should Retribution have? He says his vote is for Breaking the Law by Judas Priest.
No, it's Break Shit by Limp Bizkit.
There you go. Mr. Lipkin, what wrestler would you like would you most like to see turned into a Muppet? And what Muppet would you most like to see turned into a wrestler?
I want to see Sam the Eagle be a wrestler. No. That huge hairy guy. I don't know what his name is. I remember
Oh,
him
yeah,
from
I know
the
who you're
show.
talking about. I don't know what his name is either.
He should be a wrestler.
Animal.
Yeah, Animal would be a good wrestler.
I want to see him.
And then what wrestler should be turned into a Muppet?
Yeah. Nikki Cross. That's my answer. Otis looks like a Muppet, huh?
Yeah. It's a great question from Jorge D. Power rank these classic sandwiches: Sloppy Joe, Reuben, Club Sandwich, French Dip, and Monte Cristo.
What was it again?
Sloppy Joe, Reuben, Club Sandwich, French Dip, Monte Cristo.
Okay, so Sloppy Joe's at the bottom for me.
Yeah.
What's on a Monte Cristo again? I forget. I had one.
That's
like
the one that's
about a
deep
year
fried,
ago.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Club Sandwich is number one of those choices for me. Club, French Dip, probably the Reuben because I like sauerkraut and Thousand Island dressing, Monte Cristo, and Sloppy Joe. That's probably the order I'd put it.
It's rare that I have a really good French dip. I would probably do a club first. I do a good Monte Cristo. Dude, it's got everything in it. That's amazing.
It's deep fried too, right? They deep fry the whole sandwich.
Yeah. So I'd probably do that second. I'd do a French dip third. Well, wait a second. A club or a BLT?
It says club.
What's the difference? What's on a club?
You get the turkey and your ham on a club. Usually the three layers, 3 pieces of bread.
Well, I'll go with French dip number 1, Monte Cristo number 2, club number 3.
Did you just say this? It's not very often you get a really good French dip, and yet you're putting it number
but
one.
I just rethought it. You got the au jus with it. Oh, it's so good. You did some dipping.
It's very hard to find one that actually find some place that cooks the meat right, where it's not overcooked.
Go to Philippe's in Los Angeles.
Yeah, let's hop in my car and go to Philippe's.
I don't like your attitude.
It's 400 miles away.
Yeah, I know.
It's
worth
8:30.
it.
I've had a beverage. I'm in no shape to drive right now.
Yeah. Let's do that thing. Did you have a bit? Remember that time you went off the thing?
Yeah, I was completely sober when I did that too.
I don't know, man. Open can rule. Alex Foster. I got to hand it to them. Any wrestling show that ends with a dude holding a chainsaw is certainly trying. Yeah. Well, you had a chainsaw.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Butts. I'll end with this one on Discord.
All right.
I don't know how many more we have on Twitch, but Butts says, did Retribution feel more like the Spirit Squad than anything? Yes.
They felt more like an annoyance than a threat.
Yeah. Anyways, any more on Twitch?
I mean, yeah, but we can, if you want to stop, we can stop.
Don't put it on me, but are there any good? One last one from Twitch.
All right, we'll find one more. Here we go. Sven Man, who would you put in your own ultimately terrible Retribution?
The people in there tonight?
Damian Priest.
Oh, no, he's too tall. He looks probably great in a ski mask. Plus that voice.
I don't know, man. If you give him some like oversized pants and a hoodie that's a size and a half or 2 sizes too large for him.
Dijak, they have done a terrific job of humanizing Dijak.
I have a hard time
NXT.
believing he's done with NXT.
Yeah, me too.
So I don't think he's going to be involved. I think whatever call-up he was going to have has been retracted.
I think you're right. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Fear and Loathing says the Singh brothers. See, here's the thing. This is the thing about Retribution that I kind of feel okay about is that with the exception of Chelsea Green, unless they do swap out somebody and put Ciampa in there, if Ciampa is in that group, I'm devastated. I might stop watching wrestling altogether.
That's fine. You can be an Unsolved Mysteries streamer.
I'll do that.
I'll find something else to do. I'll watch wrestling on my own time.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Chelsea Green, that makes me sad if it's her. It really does.
It would make me sad too. But yeah, I'm with you. If Ciampa's involved in this, I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken for him.
Pretty much done, yeah. Can't do that.
Even if Gargano's involved, because that's another name I saw people talk about, is that Gargano might have been one of the guys.
Not a chance. He wouldn't be wearing that goofy shit. White Brownie here has 3 names. I would be totally cool with all 3 of these names. Kona Reeves, Shane Thorne, Rick Booge.
I'd be excited. See, here's the thing. If it was Shane Thorne in there, I'd be excited because he's doing something. I think Shane Thorne has a lot of upside.
Yeah, me too. I love him. But here's the thing. If it was those 3 guys, then none of those 3 guys were there tonight. That's for damn sure.
No. Shane Thorne's like surprisingly tall.
Yeah. Kona Reeves is tall too.
Yeah, he's super tall.
I don't know about Booge, but he probably is. You put all those 3 guys in actually doing this. Don't have them like talk and stuff. Try to get Booge not to air guitar.
Yeah, I know. Not to descend from the ceiling upside down playing his guitar playing.
Triple H
Seek and Destroy by Metallica.
Triple H whiffed on that one.
Dude, his videos of him doing squats, playing metal, pretty damn impressive.
Oh, Booge is great. I wonder what the deal with that is. I have no idea. He's terrific.
Triple H is like a metalhead. I don't know why he's not into that. Is it because Booge hasn't pitched anything with Motorhead or something?
Maybe they had a conversation like, "Hey, what's your top 5 metal acts?"
Motorhead wasn't one of them.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Rick, what about Motorhead?" And he was like, they didn't really do much for me.
They got one song. They got a Ace of Spades. That's it.
Yeah. Oh,
Triple H
okay.
like, oh, you've never heard of Evolution theme.
Triple H's like, oh, okay.
Always in developmental.
Exactly. You've never heard of Evolution theme. All right, we'll go out on that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Never heard of Evolution theme. Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.